Go live. Hey everybody. So before we get into talking with George here, I just wanted to do a little bit of an introduction because today I'm going to be talking to George Galyo. I hope I said that right. I'm sorry if I didn't, George. But George is a BMX rider who has cerebral palsy, and I wanted to give everyone a definition. This is straight from Google, but cerebral palsy is a group of disorders that affect a person's ability to move and maintain balance and posture. CP is the most common motor disability in childhood. Cerebral means having to do with the brain. Palsy means weakness or problems with using the muscles. So you can see how riding BMX and having cerebral palsy could kind of be a really inspirational, amazing thing. That's why I'm so excited to talk to him, and I'm not going to leave him waiting anymore. He looks very nervous in this. So let's get talking to George, everybody. Here we go. Boom. Boom. The man, the myth, the legend. What's up, George?
What's up, man? Not much, man. How you doing?
So let's just get right on into talking about all this stuff. First, I kind of wanted, I know you started to get into talking about like your story and BMX and stuff the other night, but I want to hear it again because this is what made me want you to have you on here so badly because it's pretty cool to hear, honestly. And I feel like it deserves, people should hear this.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I have cerebral palsy, which is basically defined as brain damage that normally happens before the birthing process, during, or immediately after the birthing process. So
Mm-hmm.
normally it's caused by something that went wrong during that process, somewhere within that 9 months. Um, I'm not exactly sure when they discovered what was going on with me and my mom at the time, so I don't know where in the process things started going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do know is that there was some type of blockage that caused my blood pressure to skyrocket, which caused me to have a stroke before I was even born. They originally told my mom that they didn't think I was going to make it, and then it was I was going to be born, but I wasn't going to be fully developed when I was born. Like I wasn't going to have all my organs and things like that, and that I was immediately going to die shortly thereafter. Um, and then they actually recommended to my mom that they do an abortion because I wasn't going to make it, but my mom didn't want to do that. So, and then it just kind of went on from there.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah.
I'm glad you're
So,
here.
oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad my mom didn't go through with it.
Right, exactly. This would be a very different night.
Yeah.
Um,
So, and go ahead.
no, I keep. You're good.
Okay. Yeah. So, during the process, I want to say I was born a little bit early from what I remember. I'm not quite sure um, when exactly I was born, but I do recall my mom saying it was a little bit early, a little bit premature.
Yeah.
Um, and then I was in the hospital for 6 months
Oh wow.
after being born on like tubes and stuff like that, from what I was told.
Wow.
So, and they had originally told my parents that I was probably never going to walk, probably never speak, pretty much all the worst things that you could probably tell a new mom.
No kidding.
So, yeah. So, and then things just slowly started developing. Like I slowly started to do like an army crawl from what my mom told me.
Yeah.
And then I think she said that I started walking at 2 years old,
Oh, I
if
don't
I
know what
remember.
normal is because I'm not a dad, but what is normal?
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't know what normal is either. So, there's a lot, like when I was a kid, like my mom and I basically lived at the doctor's office and at the hospital. Like I
Yeah.
was seeing doctors every month. Sometimes more frequently than that, depending on what was going on. So, but even when I was growing up and getting older, my mom always came with me, even when I was like a teenager. And I never really paid attention to what the doctor was saying because it was always stuff that like I didn't want to hear, like, you will never do this, you should never do that.
Right.
So, Like I just kind of tuned it out. And usually when I need to know something medically, I go to my mom and be like, "Hey mom, what did they say about this?" Okay, cool. I'll let my doctor know.
Wow, yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. So to that, like, I feel like cerebral palsy is something that really exists on a spectrum because I feel like I've seen some like super severe, and then I mean there might be people like if I saw you in public, I would never even know.
Yeah, and so growing up, being made fun of and all the things like that for being different, like I always did my best that I could do to hide it. Like for the longest time in my life, like I wouldn't even talk about it
Mm-hmm.
because I was being picked on a lot. Um, so I tried to avoid talking about it and I tried to do my best to hide it. You can really see it when I'm tired,
Mm.
like my body's just shot, like I'll start limping real bad. I actually got yelled at in the grocery store about a year ago because my right foot was slapping the ground, and the lady thought I was just being annoying. So she like turned around and started yelling at me. And I'm
Wow.
like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I kind
Listen,
of had to
Linda.
like explain, yeah, I kind of had to explain what, what was going on.
Wow.
Um, do you follow Scotty at all?
Yeah.
So, you know how he talks about like not having feeling or like this arm works better than that arm,
Yeah.
things like Scotty and I actually have a lot of the same symptoms. His are
Really.
just caused more from like a spinal cord injury,
Yeah.
whereas mine's caused by brain damage before I was even born.
Right.
Um,
Wow, that's
and
crazy.
to answer your question about the spectrum, you're absolutely right. It really depends on how big of an area of the brain was damaged, as also where was the brain damaged. And they've got different types of CP. I honestly don't know all of the different types because, like I said, I never really listened to my doctor when he was talking because it was just all stuff I did not want to hear
Right.
and didn't even want to put in my head.
Yeah.
Um, but I actually work with a kid named Ben, and so I'm split on the right side. My right side doesn't function very well. Right leg, right arm, the whole nine. I actually work with a kid named Ben where he's split at the leg, so his legs don't function very well.
Whoa.
But his upper body is amazing.
The
And I
brain.
actually met Ben. I met Ben when he was 7, and he's 18 now.
Yeah.
And when he came to me, he couldn't even stand on his own. Like if you just tried to have him stand up and you let go of him, he would plop on the ground. Like
Yeah.
couldn't no leg control whatsoever.
Wow.
And I've been working with him on and off for a very long time, and he's actually running now.
That's crazy.
Um,
That's awesome too.
yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like he has balance issues, like he will fall and do all that, but I mean, from where he was to how far he's come, it's actually like a completely different person.
That's really awesome. So you do therapy or something for work or
Oh, no, I work at a hospital, but in a different capacity. I work in a medical records department,
oh, okay.
so like we like manage the medical records and stuff like
Gotcha.
that.
That's a job to
I
have.
yeah, it's crazy during COVID,
Oh, I'm
man.
sure. I'm sure.
But I've always been an active person, and I was actually at a gym training martial arts to like help with my balance and stuff. And they had happened to hear about me because they heard that martial arts might be good to help with his balance.
Oh, okay.
But no martial arts school would touch him. They're like, nope, it's too much of a liability. We're not doing it. And they heard about me and they contacted a bunch of different schools in the area looking for me.
Wow.
And then they asked if I would work with him. And then the owner of the gym was like, yeah, I think you should do it. So I started working with him in that way. And
That's
then
awesome.
when I stopped doing that, so I got Ben to a point because his dream was to play adaptive t-ball. but they wouldn't let him on the team because like he couldn't stand, like there was just certain things that he needed to be able to do to hit
Yeah.
the ball and things like that. And I got him to a point where he could actually join the T-ball league. So there wasn't much I could really do to help him from that point on because I'm not really into like baseball and things like that.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I didn't know how I could help him any further.
Yeah.
Um, and being on a team like that, like you got to go to practice and things like that. So we couldn't really connect like we were doing. So we kind of lost contact for a while there. And then the gym that I was going to closed down. So I wasn't even going to that gym anymore. I was just doing things on my own.
Yeah.
And then my phone rang one day and I knew they had my number, but I had gotten a new phone and my contacts didn't carry over. And my phone had rang and it was them. And they were actually asking me if I would work with Ben again. And then we've been together ever since again.
That's so awesome.
And yeah, now we're actually working on riding a bike
Wow.
because he sees me doing it. So he's like, I want to do that. And I said, okay, like we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And so I started researching how to get him on a bike because, they don't really make training wheels for like adult type bikes.
Oh.
Um,
Yeah.
like well, they do, but they're hard to find.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And a lot of them are for like 26-inch beach cruisers, and I didn't want to put him on that type of bike. I wanted to put him on like a 20-inch bike so if he fell it wasn't as far.
Yeah.
um Ryan from Sabrosa actually reached out to me because I had made a post trying to figure out like the training wheel situation and trying to find him a bike.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Sabrosa reached out to me, and they actually sent me a bike for him and everything, and
What?
we just had yeah. We had to figure out the training wheels. And I talked to a friend of mine who he does some type of metal fabrication,
Yeah.
and he was able to drill them out safely, and we were able to get them on the bike. And there's actually clips. I mean, I post a lot on Instagram, but there's clips of him on my Instagram somewhere of him pedaling on his bike and working through the
Dude,
process
that
and
is
things like that.
awesome. You
Yeah.
have you do you upload to YouTube very often?
No, not very often. I have a couple little like crappy edits that I've done on my phone.
Dude, you
'Cause I
should
don't I
start
don't
like
have like any editing software or anything like that.
you don't even need it. All you
So
gotta do is use your phone. You should like start doing more YouTube stuff. Like I see you have a video on here discussing my medical condition, then a couple edits. You should like document helping this dude and like make videos of it because that's the kind of stuff that's like just I feel like a lot of people would certain benefit from seeing.
yeah, no, and I agree with you. But Ben is the type of person like he doesn't even like it when you take his picture.
Oh, well,
Like and I don't ever want him to feel like
right.
he's being exploited.
Yeah, that's totally different
Um,
then, yeah.
Yeah, and I do what I do with Ben because he's motivated like I am.
Right.
Like our goals are different, but he is motivated to walk better, to run better, to ride a bike because he realizes that he's most likely not going to be able to drive, at least
Mm-hmm.
not anytime soon. So he's like, I can use a bike as a mode of transportation. So like he's really gung ho about riding
Oh,
a
yeah.
bike, and just living normal life. Honestly, like I haven't seen him much lately. Well, one because of COVID. We kind of went down to one time a week because COVID was crazy because work and things like that.
Right.
But he actually just got his first job,
Wow.
um, and that's the type of things that I'm working with him on because he wants to be as normal as possible, just like I did.
Right.
So, for him, it's doing certain things that, walking, standing, because he works at the YMCA and he like cleans the gym equipment and stuff like that. So he's walking around.
Yeah.
So it's, he's doing what he wants to do, which I think is awesome.
Right. Man, that's really cool though. Just to hear all of that and like that you're doing that. That's why I was like, man, I feel like people should hear about this. um, I did want to ask you too though. So how did you find like BMX? I like,
So
how did you even get involved with that?
it it's kind of a crazy story. So when I was younger, you know, and I don't remember a lot because when you're a little kid, you're kind of paying attention, but you're not really paying attention.
Yeah.
When I was like 3, 4 years old, all I would ever hear from people, you'll never do this, you'll never do that, never, 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 never. And I was always like, I want to be an active person. Like, I want to go ride a bike like the kids outside. I want to
Mm-hmm.
do certain things. Um, and I started out on a tricycle, and like I would go to pedal, and my right foot would just blow off the pedal. Like I could kind of get the motion, but not really.
Yeah.
But I was a determined person, so I eventually just kind of like figured it out on my own. Um, and then as I got a little bit bigger, I was like 4 or 5. My parents gave me my little sister's. It was like pink and blue, like complete girls bike. But she outgrew that bike, so they put the training wheels back on it for me so I could try. And my dad raced dirt bikes at the time too. So I was always going to the track with him and watching the guys ride dirt bikes and,
Yeah.
hit big jumps and things like that. And so I was always determined. I was like, I want to figure this out. And I eventually did. When I was about 6 years old, um, I told my dad I wanted to take my training wheels off, and he finally took them off for me. And literally, first go, he lets me go, and I literally just take off. I don't fall, nothing. And I've never done anything first try, like anything brand new. I've never done anything first try. Even to this day, when I try something new, like I never get it first try. So like that's always stuck in my head throughout the years. Like I got this first try.
Yeah.
Um, and I would always just like I would always be on the bike at that point because I loved it. Like I was just going around in circles just as fast as I could. And then I started realizing like, oh, if you hit this curb, like you'll shoot up in the air. So I started doing stuff like that and just riding curbs and things like that just because I thought it was cool. I could catch, probably like 2, 3 inches of air off the curb. Um, and I always did that. And then in like middle school, like beginning of middle school, everybody like skateboarded, and I was still just like riding my bike around the neighborhood, jumping off curbs, not even really knowing what BMX was.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a skateboard because literally everybody in the neighborhood had a skateboard. So, but every time I rode it, I was like, this is boring. Like, it's not fun to me. Like, nothing against skateboarding. Like, I think it's totally cool what those guys do, but I just did not enjoy it.
Right.
And we were actually at a spot, at a ledge spot, and I was just sitting there on the curb with my skateboard, and my friends were riding, and these two guys rode up on BMX bikes, and it was the first time like I'd actually seen a legit BMX bike with pegs, everything,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing all types of grinds and stuff like that, and I was like, that's something that I want to do. And then I went home and started like researching online and trying to figure out what it was and what was going on. And then I finally convinced my parents to help me get a bike, and it's just kind of I've been riding pretty much ever since.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so sick that you like found it without like seeing it on TV or seeing some X Games or anything like that. It was like totally organic.
Yeah. And it was crazy because, when I got home and like went online and was like trying to figure out what it was, you know, when I Googled it, like that's what I found was like the X Games, backflip, all this other
Uh-huh.
stuff. And I was like, no, I want to do what those guys were doing on the street, you know?
Yeah, that's sick.
Um, but I mean, I've been riding ever since. I've always kind of sucked though for the longest time, and I'm talking many years. All I could do was bunny hop, one footer, double peg, and feeble. That was like my trick list. I couldn't do anything else. Anytime I tried, I would always fall, get hurt, scrape up, get up, try it again, but I would still fall and get hurt.
Yeah.
But I just had fun doing what I was doing.
Yeah, what's it like learning how to ride with cerebral palsy?
It's difficult and interesting, because you can't really take anything from anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my friends would try to help me learn a trick, learn a new trick, and like nothing they would tell me worked. And I think that's why I struggled for such a long time, was because I was trying to take advice from other people
Yeah.
and other riders too. Like, I would watch videos and try to figure out their movements and stuff like that. But I couldn't do them. I can't move like that.
Yeah.
Um, so it was a huge learning curve. A lot of it just had to do with me, I really want to do this. I need to figure it out. And all I would do is go to the skate park and literally crash all day.
Hmm. I'm not
All
familiar with
day.
that life.
Like, and I'll kind of give you an example, with fakies, for example. Um, because I actually learned on a cassette.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would do is I would get warmed up, and then like I would just go to like a little quarter pipe, and I would roll up the quarter pipe just enough so I would start to roll backwards.
Mm.
And I kind of figured it out. I could do like one crank, and then I could just like push out of it. So, and then I got to where I could do two cranks and I could push out of it. And then I discovered a free coaster because I didn't know what a free coaster was at that time.
Yeah.
But when I discovered that, I was like, well, let me try that and see what I can do. Well, a free coaster is all balance. I could kind of use the pedal pressure of a cassette to like get myself out of it. You can't do that with a free
Right.
coaster. So like I would roll up the ramp and I would start to go backwards, and then I would lose my balance and I would fall because I had nothing to like help me stabilize.
Yeah.
Um, but I was like, this has a lot of potential for me. Like, I know I can figure this out.
Yeah.
So every time I rode, what I would do is I would jump a hip and I would do 10 one-footers. I would do 10 double pegs. I would do 10 feebles, and that would be my warm up. And that would take me, maybe 10 minutes. And I'd have a 3-hour skate park session, and the rest of it would just be fakey stuff. And I would literally just roll up the ramp and fall on my head. Roll up the ramp, fall on my head. And then eventually I was able to like find my balance, and I started rolling and making a distance, but I couldn't figure out how to get out of it. And I just kept going like that for almost 2.5 years. And then one day I was able to figure out how to pull out of it.
Wow.
And then it's just kind of, I realized that's just how I need to learn stuff is I just need to take my time with it, whether it takes a week or 2.5 years like a fakie did. If I keep doing that process, I'll eventually learn new stuff.
Yeah.
And I decided to take my pegs off for a long time. Um, that way I couldn't do any grind stuff because that's the only thing that I could do. So it forced me to do other things. I had no choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I've found that sometimes forcing yourself into something is the best way to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How does, I'll call it CP because I heard you call it CP. How
Yeah,
does that
absolutely.
affect riding BMX for you or riding a bike for you?
I mean, for me, I don't really know a different life,
Yeah, right.
So it's always hard to tell, but like, I can tell you I don't have the grip strength in my right hand as I do in my left.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, and I'm talking maybe 2.5 years ago, I did my first line. Like, I could not do lines. It was one trick, and then I had to stop and give myself like just like a 5-10 second break, reset my hands and everything,
Yeah.
and then go do another trick. Um, but I started working on my hand strength and trying to get that up, and then eventually, like I said, probably like two and a half, even about 2.5 years ago, I think I did my first line and I didn't lose my grip or anything. Because every time I would try a line, I would do, let's say I would do a 1 footer and then I'd go to hit the box to do a double peg. I'd do the 1 footer and I'd go to hop and I'd hit the box and my right hand would flip off and I would just go straight over the bars.
Yeah,
Like I didn't have the strength to hold on.
man. That's it's crazy. It's just like, I mean, inspirational is the word for it. It's why my mind always goes to YouTube because I know the YouTube like world and how much it can help people. I'm like, man, people saw this.
Well, and it's funny you say that because that's actually the reason I started my Instagram because um I didn't really start filming myself. Let's see, I've had Instagram for 2 years this year. So I really didn't start filming myself until about 2.5 years ago because before I started my Instagram, I filmed for about 5, 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
just so I could get used to filming and things like that. And it was my fiance, Lindsay, that literally forced me to start an Instagram. She's like, the things that you're doing can help other people
Yeah.
and you need to put that out there because no one else there's or I shouldn't say no one else, but there's no one really doing it and you could help a lot of people. And I didn't want to do it because I was picked on all when I was younger. I rode with like two or three of my friends, but typically I was riding by myself most of the time just because I would get picked on by people that I didn't know. So, but she eventually talked me into it, and it's just kind of slowly progressed from there.
Yeah. I feel like I remember when you first got an Instagram. I don't know why, but I feel like there's a memory in there of like reading or something like that. Did we talk on Instagram a long time ago or something?
No, we talked on Facebook. Because I know we've been following each other on Facebook for a while. Because I did have Facebook, but I never really posted anything up there. Just because, like I said, I never really wanted to put my writing out there. I would post maybe a picture every once in a while of me like hitting a bowl corner or doing a fast plan or something like that, but that would
Yeah,
be about it.
man. I feel like there's so much potential. My brain's immediately like, okay, here's what we gotta do. The first ever digital adaptive BMX contest since everyone's so far apart. There's the guy who ties his bars to his sweatshirt,
Jack,
Julian.
Jack Stumper.
Yeah, and then there's Julian. There's you. I'm guaranteeing there's more out there. Scotty could get involved with it. And it's like, dude, this could be like the coolest thing ever.
Well, and the crazy thing about Scotty, it's crazy because, and I've tried, and I know he's like super busy, probably doesn't even see my messages. Like, I've tried to reach out to him so many times because I experienced a lot of the stuff that he experiences.
Yeah,
Like, like it's the exact same. It's just caused by a different, he crashed. I was born with it.
right.
And the thing with Scotty has the skill. You can see it when he
Oh, for
rides.
sure.
Like he still remembers how to do that flip whip. He still
Right.
remembers all of that. He just physically cannot do it because he hasn't dealt with this long enough, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Because, even though that piece of the brain isn't working anymore, if you keep doing certain things, you can eventually reroute it so you get a little bit more function back. Like when I was younger, I probably only had about 35 to 40% of my right side that I could use.
Yeah.
And it's probably somewhere between like 50 and 75 now.
Wow. That's
Um,
awesome.
and it's all through, strength training and just like never giving up. Like
Yeah.
no one could tell me I couldn't do something. I was going to find a way to do it.
Yeah, dude, there's got to be a way for us to get you into contact with Scotty somehow. Like, there has to be a way, especially when he comes back down to Florida. Like, you're right there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in Virginia.
Oh, you're in
Um,
Virginia? I thought you were in
Yeah,
Florida.
I'm in Virginia. I'm just really good friends with all those dudes down in Florida. Big Boy actually, so I proposed to my fiance at the Sparky's Jam,
Yeah.
and Big Boy actually filmed it, and I didn't realize he was filming it.
Yeah.
So my proposal ended up on YouTube.
Oh, duh. I saw it. Yo, you got one too.
Yup.
Is that an igloo one too?
um, honestly, yeah, it is.
We got the same jug.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Anyways,
that is awesome.
um, I like. I wish I was in a better spot right now. I'd literally say, let's do a digital adaptive BMX contest, or maybe even not a contest. Edit. Let's do the edit. Everyone send me clips. I'll put it together to music. You can do whatever you want with it.
Well, I got to figure that out because right now, so I'm doing a contest series right now, and I'm trying not to do anything that I'll get hurt on,
Oh yeah.
outside of the contest because
Right.
I don't want to get hurt. And I was supposed to have the final stop today, but it got pushed back because of weather. The weather's been horrible here.
Yeah.
Um, and then I really wasn't going to say anything until after the contest was out and I started actually filming for it. I'm actually working on a street video part right now.
Nice.
And it's crazy because I'm actually really glad that the contest got canceled today, because we went to a spot yesterday and just this idea came to my head and I was like, I'm feeling motivated. I got to do it. And I spent like 45 minutes to an hour doing it. And my body was shot today,
Oh yeah.
but I did get the clip. So,
Nice. There you
but
go. That's
I'm kind of glad that I didn't have to ride the contest today.
hey, it worked out. It was meant to be, literally.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, but I'm gonna be doing that. And then, but yeah, I'm down to do something. It'll probably be like skate park clips, but I'm definitely down to do something.
All I'm saying is just like everyone who is in that category of rider could submit a couple clips or something, and then
Yeah.
I could edit it together. I mean, it doesn't have to be my thing. It's just I would
Oh,
love
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
do it and then put it out there for everybody to see and just be like a thing.
Oh no, I think that's totally cool, and I really like where it's going too, because I don't know if you know this, but Jack is sponsored by United, I believe.
I feel
United
like
picked
I
him,
knew that. Julian's
and
on GT.
Julian's on GT, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I
So
was gonna say something about how I've got it in my notes here. I was gonna say something just about how much I love seeing the support that you get from Sabrosa and Shadow, your shirt and your hat right there, because I feel
yeah,
like in BMX there needs to be more stuff like people like Julian getting hooked up with GT, Jack getting hooked up with United, you getting helped out by Sabrosa and Shadow. Like there should be more of that, and I feel like people like you and those guys should be getting shine time and shown out there too, because any normal person can go and do anything they want to. It takes a real, like, motivated, determined individual to push through and past something like cerebral palsy and go out there and kick ass the way that you do.
well, that means a lot. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and I just, I'm hoping that's one reason why I finally decided to like I'll listen to my fiance and I'll start an Instagram because I was hoping that it would bring more people like me, like Jack, like Julian, bring them out of the shadows too. Because I'm sure there's people out there
Oh, there's
that
more.
just
There
are
has to
were
be.
like me that just didn't want to post anything because they're used to getting bullied for most of
Mm-hmm.
their life. Um, and I know there's a gentleman. I actually follow him on Instagram. I just don't remember his name. But he's very similar to Julian. And I think he's actually hooked up by Medieval. So
Yeah,
Ricky will probably
his name,
know.
I'll look it up right now. I follow him. It starts with an S, I think.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm bad with names.
Dang, I can't remember his name either. I know exactly who you're talking about. Uh, because I was like, dude, that guy needs a freaking free night free coaster. I
Oh
told the
yeah.
people at Free Night, I'm like, that is the perfect person to have one of those. So he doesn't have to worry about backpedaling when he's going backwards, but he's got a cassette when he's moving forward.
Yep. And I would be interested to talk to Julian too to see exactly what he does because
Yeah,
I find his bike very interesting because I know it's missing a crank.
yeah,
So I'm just curious how like his setup is.
right. And then I don't know, is Jack the person who had the custom S&M bars? There's a guy who had custom
Oh,
S&M bars
oh,
too that were all the way up.
yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. I cannot remember
See,
that guy's name.
this is a problem. We should you should somebody should do this edit so that everyone knows who all of these people are because they are so much more kick-ass than most of the people in BMX.
Yeah, I think that would be a really cool idea. And I know I've talked to Jack before just like through Instagram Messenger, so I can probably get a hold of him
Yeah.
and talk to him about it. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm down to edit it or whatever I need to do to be involved. It doesn't have to be on my channel or wherever it ends up. I don't care. I just want to be involved and help make it happen somehow
Oh,
because I think that would be amazing.
yeah, no, I think that would be totally cool too. And that's the thing, like, I never really care about like what I do or, who posts my clips or, who does this, who does that, because it's all about just bringing awareness
Absolutely.
to
That's the
what's
whole
going on.
point.
So,
Absolutely. We'll keep this conversation going. I don't want to railroad our whole conversation with that. It just came
yeah,
to
yeah,
mind
yeah.
and was like, the universe told me that this needs to happen.
I think we can make it happen.
I think so too. Um, Man, so what's on your to-do list for tricks? Don't tell me your street edit, but stuff you want to learn or like you're working on right now.
So honestly, like I have this thing where if I can do the trick forwards, I want to be able to do it from fakie.
Nice.
So like when I learned cans pretty good, I was like, okay, now I got to figure it out from fakie.
Mm-hmm.
When I started learning graze which my graze still really aren't, the best, but I'm trying to get them there. The flexibility is really hard.
Yeah.
I started doing them from fakie. Um, and then I have a lot of trouble with 180s because of my shoulder. Like it just for some reason the 180 really kills my muscles and it hurts really bad. It's like a sharp pain.
Yeah.
So I don't do 180s very often, but I kind of learned that like if I do like a fast plant type deal, like it takes the pressure off my shoulder, so I do it like that.
Okay.
Um, but half cabs don't cause me a problem. So then I went out and started trying like half cab cans and half cab grizzairs, and like I just kind of went a little, like that. So
Yeah.
I kind of take what I can do, and then see how far I can take what I can do.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, and then I love fakey stuff. So really, anything fakey, I'm down to like try to figure it out. Like I'll do, like one of my favorite things to do is I've got like this racer roller ramp that's at our park, and it's got like a steep edge that's kind of like a wall ride, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember it took me like probably 4 or 5 months to do it. I would roll fakie up a ramp and then roll back up that ramp backwards, but it wasn't like straight on. Like you had to make like a U-turn, so to speak, to
Mm-hmm.
hit it. And I love doing stuff like that. Like those are my favorite things to do. So anytime I can find some unique fakie line that people don't really do, I'm always the one to try it.
Nice. When's or not when, but do you have any guesses on when the street edit might hit the internet?
Honestly, I don't know. Because I actually have, and I don't want to say who it is, but I actually have somebody that's going to help me edit it.
Nice.
So it's going to be kind of when I can finish it and when they can edit it because they're really busy with their own stuff as well.
Yeah.
Um, so, and it's just going to, I kind of want to make this because I've never usually I ride skate parks, and the reason I ride skate parks is just because I can get stuff done. I can
Yeah.
learn stuff because
Right.
nobody will kick me out. When I go to ride street, I'll ride a spot and I'll start getting close, and then somebody will kick me out.
Yep.
And then I got to start the whole process over again. Because one thing that I haven't really touched on is, so when I go ride my bike, like when I get up in the morning, it doesn't matter if I stretch or anything like that. My first bunny hop of the day for like a good 30 to 45 minutes is like maybe half an inch off the ground.
Uh,
Like my muscles just don't do it until I've got a good like sweat going and I'm nice and warmed up. Um, and sometimes even then, like I've tried different things. Like I've even gone for like a 2 mile run before I go to the skate park just
yeah.
to see if that'll help loosen the muscles up. And it does a little bit, but it takes me a while to like just get everything warmed up again. And so like when I go to do like a street spot, it's like I have to be warmed up and ready to go when I get there, or I'm
Yeah.
not getting anything done before I get kicked out. And it sucks because street's my favorite. Like I like riding street, but like it's just so hard for me to ride because I always get kicked out before I can get anything done.
And you know that that hometown hero or cop who's kicking you out is gonna be like, "Shut up, kid! You don't actually have CP. You're just telling me that so I'll let you
Oh,
stay."
oh, dude, I'm not gonna lie. I get that more often than you would think, and not even from like cops or anything like that. Like I'll get messages on Instagram that say like I'm a faker,
No
like I'm faking
way.
this disability. Oh yeah, yeah,
Are
yeah.
you
It
kidding
hasn't.
me?
No, it hasn't happened recently, but I mean, it's been a little while since it's happened, but it used to happen when I first started it, like once a week, like
Dude.
faking it, like, and I'm just like, I would not fake a disability, like that's just like not even on my mind. You know what I'm saying?
That just, I
So
mean, it just goes, people suck.
yeah, it's dude, it's crazy.
Holy,
And it's just like it baffles me that somebody would like people would even think that. Like I just
no
like because
kidding.
that thought never even crossed my mind that somebody would be faking something like that.
Yeah, like that's not the kind of thing you fake, you know? Like, holy God.
No, yeah, it's crazy.
You'd have to be an idiot to even try to fake that.
Oh
What am
yeah,
I gonna do? Change my entire life and only get to be not that whenever I'm by myself?
exactly. So, but like I never even like reply to those. I usually just because they go to my spam box,
Yeah,
so I just hit delete. Like I don't even open it.
that's good. That's the way to be, honestly. Man, that's crazy. Um, so I'm just gonna randomly say this right now. Ryan or Ronnie, if you're watching this, you need to put your boy on the team.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
both.
those guys, they're my family. Like I love those guys. They are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
Mark Burnett, nicest guy. His mom is amazing. She is so sweet. And then Kyle Hart, shout out to Kyle because he actually so Mark's mom held on to the engagement ring pretty much the entire Sparky's Jam
Yeah,
until we were ready to do what we needed. And then Kyle Hart was the one that actually like handed me the ring to put on her finger.
yeah.
So like all of those guys are family. I can't thank Ryan and Ronnie enough for letting me do it there, like and helping me set everything up. Like those guys are family.
Man, that's like was is the Halloween jam, right?
Yeah, the Halloween Jam last year. That's
Wow,
why we
that's
are
like
kind of bummed that we couldn't go this year.
so I'm saying a year. It would have been yesterday because Halloween was on a Saturday this year.
Yep.
COVID.
Yeah.
This is
It
what I
dude,
gotta
it's
say.
but it's been a crazy year because like I had a lot of goals that I had set out in 2019 to do in 2020,
Yeah.
like go to Swamp Fest. I wanted to do my first contest, but I wanted it to be the Florida contest.
Oh yeah.
And of course we wanted to go to Sparky's Jam, but And I also had the video plan too. Like I wanted to start filming it and stuff like that. And stuff had gotten delayed, but man, I've gotten so much stuff done this year. Like I've done two contests, actually three contests already, because I did do the fees video contest as
Oh
well.
yeah,
Um, and shout out to Mark for that too, because Mark helped me edit that and get that ready for the fees contest. So
nice.
I really appreciate Mark. He's been a great help and a huge motivation for me.
That's sick.
So,
Huh.
but yeah, so it's been an interesting year.
Yeah, it's like it sucks for events and other things like that, but like it seems like it's done some really good stuff at the same time.
Absolutely.
Whatever, freaking COVID. What are you gonna do?
Right?
Yeah, man. Beyond that, what you keep talking about the contest you're in. What contest is going on?
So we have this local BMX crew. They go by Bent Crew, and they decided this year, it was the first year ever that they decided to put on a contest series. And the first stop was actually at my local park, um, right by my house, literally like a mile and a half away.
Nice.
And I was like, well, it's been a goal of mine to do a contest. And this is at my local park that I ride every single day. Like the stars have aligned. So I was like, I'm just going to sign up and do this one contest.
Yeah.
And my goal was to just not get last because anytime I try something new, I end up dead last. And I got second to last. But there were only 10 of us, so I ended up technically in ninth. And then I was like, well, I had so much fun. I was like, let me do the second stop. And I did the second stop. Um, and I'm actually currently sitting in ninth overall out of like 19 people.
Nice.
Um, yeah. So, and then I was like, well, I did the second stop, so I might as well do the third stop.
Yeah.
And it keeps getting canceled because of the weather. So
Yeah, man.
we'll see what happens.
The weather's not doing it right now.
It's really not terrible
But
for BMX.
you know what that means? That means you gotta come up to Rays.
Oh, dude, so that's one thing that 2020 is really screwed up for me is I was planning on traveling a lot. Like I really want to go to New York.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back down to Florida for obvious reasons. And I wanted to travel literally all over the place, but I can't do any of that right now.
Yeah.
Especially so technically I'm on the high risk list because of my CP.
Oh.
So, but I will say this: I've never been one to have a weak immune system. My immune system's pretty strong, thankfully.
Yeah.
But also, working at a hospital, they ask us not to travel and do
Right. That's
certain
what I was
things.
just gonna bring
So,
up.
yeah, so I'm trying to be real careful with that. The thing with the contest, like they're all outside, so it's not like you're indoors. And I usually stay away, like as far as I can from people that I don't know, or I wear a
Right.
mask or whatever. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, man. That's the whole. Yeah, that's one aspect of things that totally been ruined. Um. So then Rays next year.
absolutely. We
Man,
definitely need to ride together. And I like some of those outdoor parks you guys have too.
there's so many good ones so close together.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it is here too. Like we have one, two, three, four. We have four parks in the area that are currently open, and then they're actually building another one. So we'll have five here soon.
Nice. How far are you from Virginia Beach and Mount Trashmore?
Oh, like 20 minutes.
No way!
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. I rode Mount Trashmore once.
Yeah, I don't know if did you ride the old setup
The
or the
old
newer
setup.
setup? The old setup, yeah. See, I miss the old setup. This new setup doesn't really have much flow to it, in my opinion.
It had a literal Woodward prefab bowl. How sick
Yep.
is that? And
Dude,
then
my
somebody burned it down. What?
They burnt it down. My buddy Carlton actually broke his hip in that bowl. They had to like get him out of it. It
Ugh.
was crazy.
Yeah, man. I remember I rode down there. How long have you lived in Virginia?
Um, Pretty much all my life. My dad's in the military. Well, was in the military, so we would like move away for 2 years and then come back for like four, and then move away for 2 years and come back for four.
Gotcha.
So pretty much all my life.
That okay. So then we went to Mount Trashmore probably like 10 years ago at this point, almost 10 years ago. And there was, let's see, there was a dude named David there. He was doing 5 taps and other stuff like that. There was another kid, I can't remember his name, but I think he had a monster hat. That doesn't help you.
Well, I know, and granted, I don't know when he got sponsored or picked up by Monster, but Justin Dow is in the
Yeah, I don't
area.
think it was Justin Dowell. Maybe dude, it'd be hilarious if it was a young Justin Dowell, but that was like, I don't think he would have been that young. Either way,
Watching
though,
him ride in person is insane.
I can't even imagine. That's one person that I wish had more love in BMX.
Yeah, he's really good. I heard he got picked up by Levi's, believe it or not, which I think is really
I
cool.
do believe it.
Like, but he was actually down here at one of our local parks with Spencer Forsman.
Yeah,
They did like a game of bar spin where like every trick had to be a bar spin of some variation.
yeah,
So like that was really cool. Like we were actually there that night.
nice.
It was just crazy to watch both those guys ride because they're both so good.
Yeah, it's always awesome to be in the presence of greatness on a bicycle.
It really is. It's different. Like you watch it on TV, like anything, X Games, whatever. But then when you see it in real life, it's like wow. Like
Yeah,
even going to the Sparky's Jam, like I was just like whole, like it's
Matt
just
Ray.
completely different.
I can't even imagine seeing Matt Ray ride in person. That dude looks like he doesn't like mess up.
No, it's like everything he does. I actually posted under one of his things. It's watching Matt Ray ride in video or in person is literally like watching somebody play like Dave Mira. Like they're
Hmm.
playing him as a controller. Like it's just everything is just so smooth and flowy. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude, watching Nick Bruce ride up here is like, oh, it's crazy because he's just effortless, so high, and doing tricks that are scary to do by themselves.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. But
Yeah,
it's so
man.
much fun to watch. Like I could just sit there all day and watch those guys ride.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely fun. Um, what are your future plans? Like, I, f- there's so much awesome potential with the internet and reaching people and helping people and things like that. Do you have anything planned or anything like that?
No, I mean, kind of, but not really. Like, I'm really just kind of taking everything one step at a time. Um, like, I want everything to be organic. Like, I'm not trying to like force anything or
Yeah,
do anything like that. Like, right now, um, pretty much my daily life is get up, go to work, help Ben ride my bike. Like, that's literally pretty much all that I do.
yeah.
But it's what I love to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really want to do anything else. I just want to ride my bike and help people the best way that I can. So anything that I can do to help people, whether they have a disability or not, and just anything that I can do to better my journey on riding my bike and doing the things that I want to do from there, like that's what I want to do.
Hell yeah.
So
That's pure.
yeah,
Definitely
it's just
pure.
what I love. It's what I love to do. You know, everything else is just kind of like, man, like sitting
That's what I
at
was gonna
work and
say, man.
I'm sitting at work on my lunch break, like eating lunch, and I'm just like, man, I can't wait to like get off and like go ride my bike. You know what I mean? Like,
That
don't get me wrong, I love the work that I do, and working in the hospital is fun, and the ladies that I work with, they're amazing, but it's like I just want to be on my bike and riding my bike. You
It's
know what I
not
mean?
riding it's not riding, you know?
Right. Exactly. So,
Dude, yeah. Well, before we wrap this up, I want everyone to know where they can find you on the internet. So
um, would you?
I want
So
you to
my
tell
Insta,
everybody where they can find you.
yeah, my Instagram name is at cerebral underscore palsy underscore writer, I believe. I don't even know my Instagram
You know
name.
what's sick? I can put it on the screen. I actually can just do that. So I'm going to do that for you
Oh,
real
cool.
quick.
I appreciate that.
Boom. Here we go. There it is. That is George's Instagram page right there for everyone to check out if you want to. You do have a YouTube channel. It's the same thing, but without the underscores. I have that pulled up right now. I will put that and a link to his Instagram in the description down below. With that, is there anything for someone who is in a similar position or in a similar position before you like learn how to ride or anything like that, or in position of Ben that you would want
Yeah,
to say to them?
really, honestly, like it's really for anyone. Like, because I hear people all the time say, "Oh, I'm too old to do this," or like, "I want to do this, but my age is a problem." So it's really not just about having a disability or not having a disability, but like if you want to do something, whether you think you're too old or you have this disability or you have a mental disability, whatever it may be, just put yourself out there and go for it. The only one that's stopping you is yourself. You can literally do anything you want to do. There's always a way to overcome whatever it is. There's always someone that's willing to help you. You just got to find that person and you just got to find what works for you in order to do the things that you want to do. And I hope that makes sense.
It makes 100% perfect sense, and thank you for jumping on here with me. You're an inspiration, dude. Seriously.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you. And I really appreciate your time and wanting to put me on here. You know, I really appreciate everything that you do as well.
Absolutely, man. We'll do it again. We'll get you on here with Ricky sometime.
Yeah, that sounds good. Ricky's a Ricky's a good guy, man. I really like Ricky. I was actually talking to him today about some tricks and stuff. So
We'll get you on here with him soon.
that sounds good.
All right, man. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Have a good night, man.
Yep, you too. See ya.
Bye.
All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Check out George. The dude's literally an inspiration. It's so awesome to hear his story and all of the backstory behind it and everything that's gotten him to where he is now. Really good.